Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So let me introduce myself because there's at least one person here who doesn't know who I am. And some of you might know some parts of me and some of you don't. My name is Sonia, rhymes with Tanya. I am a former wife. I am a mother, a grandmother, a great grandmother. I am an educator, a licensed mental health counselor. I am a sister. I am a friend. I am a daughter. I'm a dog owner. Although anybody want a puppy, let me know. I am present with you, and I am so thankful that I get to be here. That's just me in a nutshell. And for those of you who don't know what Wild is, or you've never been in a Wild group with us, it started about, I want to say about 10 years ago. God just kind of dropped it in my spirit. And that's when I was doing a lot more community work and stuff like that. And we would get together once a month, one person, spotlight on, just sharing whatever's on their heart. And then really good time for networking. We'd have breakfast together and just really chit chat. Nothing like such a good time of just helping each other know that we've got work to do, and whatever it is that we get to do, we get to do it together. What have I been doing since then? Well, one of the things I'm doing is motivator, mentor, motivational speaker, good stuff. Um, I am right now working on my PhD in counselor education and supervision. So when I felt like God was saying, pick it back up, I was like, you tripping. And then I thought, no, he wasn't, because I don't know where there is time to do this, but I know that there's the need for it, right? So if there's a need for it and it's on your heart to do it, why wait till there's a good time? There's like no better time than the present. Um, and oh, wait, so what is this behind me? On my darkest days, when I feel inadequate, unloved, and unworthy, I remember whose daughter I am and straighten my crown, right? So that's part of who I am. With all the things I listed above anything else, I am a daughter of the Most High God, chosen and selected to be present in this universe at this time in history, to be right here, right now, for whatever it is that's supposed to get done in this space. So let's do it. I would like you to think about who you are. Don't type it in yet, right? But think about who you are. If you were asked, if we were all in the room and we're like, we're gonna go around the room and introduce ourselves, what would you say when the mic came to you to introduce yourself? Think about it. Think about it. I'm gonna give you about 10 seconds, because I know some of you have this like down pat. You have the spiel that you give no matter where you are. You know what you're going to say. You know exactly how you're going to describe yourself. And think about that. Who are you? If you listened to my video earlier this week, you know that I did my word of the week, or word of wisdom, on just being, right? And we've got all these hats that we wear. So think about how you introduce yourself. Everybody ready? Because then I'm going to ask you to put it in the chat. Don't put it in yet. Don't put it in yet. Don't say it. All right, but think about it. Everybody ready? Thumbs up when you're ready. Who, how would you introduce yourself? Now, I'd like you to take that and narrow it down to 2 words. Only two. Whatever list you came up with, whatever it is that you thought of before, narrow it down. Who are you in just 2 words? Hey, Kate. Hey, girl. Hey. Just 2 words. Who are you in 2 words only? And no, don't ask me for an extra word. Don't say, I can't do it in two. I got 3 kids. No, 2 words, only 2 words. You can laugh out loud. My sister is Daisy, by the way. She got to introduce her again. That's Daisy, okay? You can laugh out loud. It's okay, right? Only 2 words. And no, you can't use and or any of those little fillers. 2 words. Just two. Go ahead, type it in if you want to. Or say it out loud wherever you are. Ooh, I like that one. His beloved. Cool. What do you got? What do you got? What do you got? Think about it. Just two words. Anybody else? Drop it in there. This is an interactive time. If you came with a notepad thinking I was gonna like lecture for an hour, not in this space. That's not why we're here. Okay, what do you have? Two words. Saved and loved. That's three words. Okay, I'll give you that. Okay. Who else? Two words. What you got? And this is super important because, like, remember when I was introducing Wild and then I skipped over to something else? Wild is woman inspiring, leading, and developing. And at the time when we started, I'm giving you time to think about it. For those of you that aren't dropping it in there, I'm kind of filling the space with my words because you haven't put yours in. Um, and it's so important for us to continue to inspire each other and to know that right in the circle in this room we've got room for inspiration, because one of the challenges things we can do, we go on YouTube all the time and see other people talking and everybody's like, have you heard such and such, like you're not as smart as that person, or you don't have as much insight and inspiration, right? And we are all leading in some area, whatever it is that we're doing, we're leading something, somebody, and we're all growing. So we're all developing and becoming our best selves. And unfortunately, sometimes we get stuck. We get stuck with certain labels and we sit right there and we think that that is all we are and that's all we can be. And sometimes, the doing of what we're doing is fine, but being means that we're constantly growing and we're leaving room to become something else, anything else. His beloved, saved and loved, I am virtually blessed. Miss Rachel, you've given me four different words. I need just two. All right, truly blessed. No, okay, that was Miss Robin put in truly blessed. I was like, wait a minute now, you can't give me two more. Okay. All right. So we have all these amazing things, but I'd like you to think about is which words you eliminated. Remember when I said get it down to two? What did you leave out? And why'd you leave those things out? How come how come these are the two words that came to the surface for you? Did you do your two words? You still thinking about them? What are your two words?
Passionately nurturing.
Passionately nurturing. Oh, that's a good one, right? Passionately nurturing. When you think about those two words, why? What is it about your everyday existence that made those two words rise to the surface? And it's important for us to think about that because are they representative of just one particular area of life or for many? Are we allowing ourselves to think about the multiplicity of who we are and understand that we are more than just any single thing? Patty says, because this is who he says I am, which is so powerful because it means that it comes from the core belief in our being. Virtuously blessed. Um, Learning, evolving. I like those too. And part of the challenge, like, how do we get from what they said about us to what we know about us based on what he says about us, right? And we kind of talked about that in the word of the week, right? When we were talking about that, how do we get from the words that were spoken to us, those messages um, that we believed, whether they're positive or not? Because here's some of the challenge, right? Oh, welcome. I not say welcome? Welcome every single body. If I didn't welcome you already, welcome. Thank you for deciding that you want to be here this Friday night. I appreciate you. When we think about the words that were spoken to us, a lot of times we try to eliminate those things that felt negative, right? The ugly words, the ugly experiences, those things that kind of negatively impacted our self esteem, our self worth, our self concept. The challenge is sometimes even those positive expressions can be damaging because if we if we hold on to just that, like when we talked about the word of wisdom this week, if we limit ourselves to just what they said we're good at, or just what they said our assets are, or just the magnet school we went to, right? Sometimes I think magnet schools are like, why? Because there's so many people who think I started in this program. I've been doing this thing ever since I was 2 years old, and it's the only thing that we do for decades and decades of our lives. We don't get permission from others or even permission from ourselves to be able to become what else is there, whatever else there is. And we get really stuck in doing instead of being, right? So when you think about who am I from that place of being, and because it's an ing, it's a constant, right? We're talking about, in this case, not a one and done. It is a constant becoming. Who said that? Said learning and evolving, right? Developing. So we're constantly becoming. So if you think about who I was, oh, you wouldn't want to know me when I was, but I was, right? So who I was at whatever stage of life, pick a stage of life, and you think about who I was then and who I am now, and everything that had to happen for me to get to this place where I am. How many of us have things that we would have liked to like eliminate and erase from life? If we could jump over those things and still get to who we are now, that we would jump over it. I hear people often say, I wouldn't change anything in my life because it made me who I am. And I'm like, listen, if there was a shortcut to here, I promise you I would take it. Oh, right? If there's any way to kind of detour and get around all that suffering and still get here, I would take it in a heartbeat. But what did I have to go through? Mm, what did I go through that has contributed to who I am and who I'm becoming? And am I committed to not wasting my suffering in the work of who I need to be? That sometimes that's the biggest piece. We go through all kinds of stuff and we waste suffering. Anybody ever wasted some suffering? Like it's, we tuck it away, we quiet it, we silence it, we shut it up, whatever it is, so that we don't have to deal with it. And it then it doesn't get used for any good. So much of it is about, can I look at my experiences and allow them to contribute to who I am and who I'm becoming? Because I don't plan to be this person 5 years from now. If you meet me 5 years from now and I am still exactly I am, if you hear yourself saying, this is just me, then you didn't change and you didn't grow. And if you stop growing, you're dead. Like we have to be grown. We have to be in this process of becoming. So if you hear yourself saying, this is just who I am, this is just me, and that's who I am. There's no room for change. No room for change. No room for change means you're stuck, you're stagnant, you're dead. That's not who we want to be. But definitely many, many, many. I got about 10 more many's on that for you, Miss Rachel. And we don't want to waste suffering. Hey, Mercy. Hey, girl. Hey. Because what I understand if I did go through what I did then. I think all of us could ask that question, right? What have I learned from what I've been through? If you could go back, so here's your next thing, drop it in if you want to. If you could go back to a moment in time and say hello to any somebody who negatively impacted your life and say, I didn't like it, but here's what I did with it. If you could go back right now, if you could go meet somebody who negatively impacted your life in any way, shape, or form at that time, and you could say, I didn't like it, but here's what I did with it, who would you go back to? And what could you say you did with it? What could you say you did with the suffering that's allowing you now to be who you are and become who you're becoming? And you don't have to put in like what happened or anything like that. But oh, did I tell you that when we're in mild, we're like when we're doing wild, yeah, we don't swim in the shallow. Mm-mm. This ain't shallow stuff. We allow ourselves to go as deep as we can in the time that we have to become who we're becoming. Why is there an LOL on that screen about such a deep, powerful question? I'm going to leave you alone for a minute. All right. Who would it be, and what are you doing with it? I would say I didn't like it, but it allowed me to find my strength and confidence. Boom, loving it. Who else? I didn't like it, but here's what I did with it. Or here's what I'm doing with it. That was a great example. I guess I should give examples when I ask these questions, right? I didn't like it, but what I've done with it was it allowed me to learn how to help others make it through. There's this verse that I like to be able to share with others the comfort by which I was comforted, right? So before, I had a ministry called the Season of Comfort, and it is based on Isaiah 40 verses 1 and 2. Speak comfort to my people, tell them that their warfare is over, tell them that they've suffered double for their sins. And so the majority of my life has been spent helping people understand that we can be all right. So I didn't like it, but I've used it to help others know that they're going to be all right. I would say I didn't like it, but thank you, because it allowed me to discover my true value and strength. I like that she put in there thank you, because I ain't tell them thank you. I was just like, I didn't like it, but here's what I did. I ain't thanking you for it. You're still not my friend. Thank you. Who else? I didn't like it, but here's what I'm doing with it. Anybody else? Drop it in there. Because if we don't have purpose for the pain, then we get stuck in the pain. There has to be purpose, because otherwise we sit around saying, why did this happen? Why did this happen to me? And I can't get over it. Now, let me tell you, because way too often at the wrong time in the healing process, it is the worst thing somebody could say is, you're going to learn so much from this experience. Like, you don't want to hear it. You're not ready for it. It's not going to do you any good. But if you're at the right place and time right now, then you're able to get what I'm saying. And you're able to know that there was purpose in your pain, because there's purpose in you. And you get to use that to continue growing and become. Here's what I'm going to do with it. It allowed me to come out of hiding and let others see me and not the false self. I love it. Who else? It allowed me to tell my story and become vulnerable and relatable to so many other women who also were made to feel less than by that. Y'all gonna make me cry. Yeah. I'm sharing my story with others just so they know that there's hope. You may have broke me, but I've learned that Jesus has created a new creation from the brokenness. I am a new, powerful creation with authority, integrity, and self-will surrendered unto him. Yes. Yeah. I didn't like it, but it helped me realize how strong I am. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's it. And because we learn from those experiences, can we get an amen? Because we learn from, you got yours? Yeah. Go ahead. You got yours? I got a co-host. She doesn't want to be on camera. What's yours?
Becoming independent and resilience.
I didn't like it.
But I became independent.
But I became independent and resilient. Yes. Yes. Right. And so this idea of If those are characteristics, right? You go back to your two words. So here's where we're going to build on it. You're going to go back to your two words that you originally listed. I am passionately nurturing. Who else? A couple other things that were said in there that were so cool. Learning and evolving, virtuously blessed, truly blessed, right? Think about your two words. And those are center and core. This is who I am. And then you just identified a couple characteristics. So look at what you listed in there, right? Some of the things that you talked about: being vulnerable, being relatable, being seen, being strong, being resilient, all of those things that are constantly part of the process in your becoming. And I'd like you to think about, oh, and if you have questions while we're talking, please just drop the questions in and I'll come around to them. As we're talking about anything and you have questions in the process. So thinking about the who I am statement and then a couple of those characteristics that you just identified, I'd like you to contemplate in the place where you are right now, in who you are right now. How often does that I am show up, or those characteristics show up, versus how much time is spent crushing it, silencing it, putting it away, or acting out of another part of yourself that is not your best self? Let me restate the question. Out of your I am a child of the Most High God, I am virtuously blessed, I am passionately nurturing. When we think about those things, that I'm strong and I'm resilient and I'm vulnerable, and when you think about, does that you, not those things, but does that you have permission to show up enough in your life? Or is she tucked to the side, waiting for permission, hiding in the shadows, not stepping into the next phase, not continuing to grow and become and add on some other characteristics, not willing to face the suffering to continue to become? Does your best present you, have permission to be in the room with you more times than not? Or is she tucked to the side? And if she is tucked to the side, contemplate why we have her sitting time out. Why is she sitting in a corner somewhere? And here's what I've observed as a mom, as a grandma. That's a hard one. All right, Patty. Yeah. Digging, 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 right? As a mom, as an educator, used to work preschool, all of that. Um, okay. 80/20. All right. Right. What I observe when you've got a little girl, it's usually, around, I'd say maybe about 4, right? Because when they're baby, hey, I'm glad that she gets to come out to play, Mercy. When you have baby, we spend a lot of time baby showing them off, right? She's so cute. Look at that outfit. Look at that. And we show people off. We show the pictures. We show this. We show that. We are so excited because she's amazing. And somebody says she's so cute. You're like, she got it from me. Like you had something to do with it, right? And so we spend a lot of energy early on highlighting what's amazing about our girls. And then somewhere, I don't know, somewhere between 4 and 8, we start telling them, sit down and shut up. It's kind of like babies. You're like, I can't wait till they're walking. I'm so tired of carrying them. Or I can't wait till they're talking. And then as soon as they start talking and walking, we're like, shut up, sit down, get out of the way. You might not use those words, but that's what we do, right? And in the same way, we look at our little girls and we tell them how fast they are, how precocious they are, how get out the space. We all this time we initially, generally, we've put some time into look at you, look at you, look at you, and then it's like nobody want to look at you. So why you always want to be in the space, right? You just always showing off. They come out in their cutest whatever, and they want to twirl around and show everything off, and you're like, sit down. Why are you so always and want to be in the spotlight? Yes, we know that there's a place where we want to teach humility and for them to not be egotistical and narcissistic. But what a crush. How do you balance it?
I'm in it now with my daughter.
All right.
And her going to be 23.
Yeah.
She's all about this is me.
Yeah.
Look at me. But I instilled that in
Yeah.
her. And for me, I was not like that. So I wanted her to be the opposite of me because I was always shy. So
can you hear her?
Just,
can y'all hear her? She won't let me put the camera on, but I want you. Can you hear her?
I just wanted her to be who she really is and to love herself as a young lady.
Yeah.
And she just brings that out, and she's just so confident and vibrant. And I love that.
Yeah.
I wasn't like that.
Yes.
So it's like how you just said, it's like, oh my God, why I gotta be all about you. And I find myself telling her that, like, no, please. But at the same time, I'm happy to see her, loving herself the way that she does and respecting herself. Yeah. And seeing her grow. I'm just at all.
That's so cool. Yeah. That's so cool. I hope you could hear her, right? So there's and some of us have the struggle where because we didn't get it and because we didn't have it, we did pour in extra energy trying to make sure that our girls got it. But here's the challenge. If they got it, but they're still not seeing it in us, then it doesn't balance itself out. Okay. And if you're the mom, let's see what Rachel said. My best present me does have permission, but need to be 100%, not a partial percentage of time. How do I get there? You get there by being here. All right, Rachel, we're going to talk more about it, right? And I'll tell you, if anybody tells you, right? If anybody tells you it's 100%, oh no, there's always room for growth. That's the growing part. That's the developing part, is to not have a lot of guilt weighing on you that, oh man, I messed it up again. Or, oh crap, I wish I could take that back. It is about growing and becoming, right? And so when we're thinking about, for those of us that have girls, whether you have kids or not, or just see the process of it, or wherever you are, whether it's co-workers or people you're training or nieces, nephews, whoever it is that is under you, when we are trying to tell them to become something we are not, somewhere in there we're lying to them. Because we're telling them that this is important to be, but not important enough for me to be. And that's a contradiction.
Yeah.
That's a contradiction. What do you see?
I see, I've always told her to be true to herself. And I feel like I'm true to myself. I am how I am. But she's...
Didn't we say you can't say I am how I am?
Oh, no.
Mm-mm.
I missed that?
Yeah, she missed that part. She missed that part, right? So let's put it in context. Let's put it in context because she made a good point. Okay. Some people are more extroverted. Some people are more animated. So this isn't really talking about the person that is, you're introverted and you need to become extroverted. That's not the message. No. The message is, are you your full best you? And do you give yourself as much time and energy and permission to become that ideal self? Or did you stop somewhere along the way? And you got to know it for yourself. If you're good where you are, then you're good where you are. And the question becomes, what is it going to take to turn the corner to whatever that next thing is? Basically, the question is asking, where is that space that you know you can still grow? Where's that room? Mercy said it, always room for growth, for sure, right? So it's asking, when I look at that person who I admire, if it's my daughter who I admire for her extroversion, or I admire because she's got that space of feeling really confident about herself, do I admire it in her but neglect it in me? or do I admire it in her and it just looks different in me? That's the question to ask, because it looks different in all of us.
Perhaps because I'm still too shy, but
Mm-hmm.
yet she can take that out of me.
Yeah.
When she's talking to me and saying, "Oh my, you look cute."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wear that.
Yeah.
Or yeah, Roberta like that. You know.
Yeah.
I guess just getting those words of affirmation.
Ooh,
Yeah.
words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Them their love languages, y'all.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
love you what you're pointing out, because what we have to think about is, if there's a space in me that someone can bring out, then it's a space in me. And the question then becomes, why do I leave that me in the back room so often? Is it because I'm uncomfortable with that person? Is it just because I'm not familiar, or she just don't need to show up all the time? There are some parts of Sonia that just does not need to be present all the time. I promise you. Sometimes I need to sit down, right? But if there's a space in me that I am neglecting or abandoning, whether I realize I'm doing it or not, then when it starts showing up, then I have to ask myself why she doesn't get to show up more often. Why do I, if I enjoyed that process and that experience, why wouldn't I do it more often? Right? So it's like, if I'm going to the gym and I'm losing the weight that I want to lose, and the gym helps me to feel energized when I go, and it makes me like really animated, why wouldn't I go to the gym? There's a block in there that's not allowing me to access the things that are really, really good for me. And that's what we all get to kind of explore, right? Fear. Woo! Somebody said the F word, fear, y'all. What else? What gets in the way when we're saying 80-20? Where's the 20 going on? When we're not 100%, what else gets in the way of us being our full best selves more often? Not 100% of the time, just more often. What blocks you? Daisy said fear. What else is out there? I think for me, probably, if I were to give it one word, the thing that silences me most often is, oh man, and I got to do this in one word. Did I put a word limit on that one? I did not. I did not put a time limit. One word. Complacency, what others will say or think, self-doubt. I think culture, right? So I grew up insecurities, right? So I'm Jamaican, and I didn't grow up Jamaican, but yet I grew up in New York, so I consider myself New Yorker more than Jamaican. But I got these Jamaican sayings, right? And one of them is, the higher a monkey climbs, the more his behind is exposed. The higher a monkey climbs, the more his behind is exposed, right? So, which means what? Don't try too hard. Don't show yourself off, because what you're going to end up is with shame, right? Thank you, Mercy. I did not put a word limit. Why are they trying to silence me, right? So I grew up under that. And then when you add the old traumas and abuses that I experienced that were shame based, what I walk through this life is with a constant shadow saying, there's going to be the time that they find out. This is the moment where you are disrobed. You know how people who do public speaking and they're like, I had this nightmare that I went up there and I was in my pajama, in my underwear, right? Or I was naked. And that is legit what shows up every time. This is going to be the time when they figure out what's really, really wrong with me. So the old self arises. The old pains arise, and it does, at the core of it, it is fear. Everything, all of this that we listed, it comes down to fear. Am I really who I say I am? And for many of us, am I really who he says I am? Because if I'm really who I say I am, if I really am passionately nurturing, is that for my kids? Is that for my spouse? Is that for my siblings? Can I do that for everybody else and not me? Am I willing to passionately nurture my best self? If I am virtuously blessed, how does that show up in how I care for me? If I got strength and resilience and courage and all of those things, how do those show up in how I treat me? Hey, Monica. Hey, girl. Hey, jump right in. So we ask ourselves, if I've got you got this battle going on, right? And you said it, go back and look at what you put. The things that we said we are, right? Here's the identity that I said I have. Here are the characteristics that I say show up out of that identity. And then here are the issues or the beliefs that are battling against this identity. Now, what the research says is it takes 3 positives to nullify a negative, not override it, just nullify it. 3 positives to nullify a negative. And I think, wow, science is so cool. But I know, and a lot of guys, I ain't even gonna apologize. What you're gonna get from me is my biblical belief system and what I know to be true. And what I think is fantastic is the verse that says, "But God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." Power, love, self-control, depending on the version you're looking at. I find it's amazing that the Bible says one thing, fear, has to be counteracted by 3 things: power, love, and a sound mind. So if any of these 3 is off, fear wins the day. So when we listed 2 attributes, I shortchanged you. So now go ahead and add a 3rd one, because the 2 attributes you have will not be enough to counter that one thing that you're fighting to be your best self. You're going to need at least 3 to fight that complacency, to fight that self-doubt, to fight those insecurities. What are the 3 attributes that you are going to hold on to, that you are going to pour yourself out on, that you are going to commit to developing in order to become your next best self? So you have your identity. We started with that 2-word identity. I'm checking to see if somebody wanted a link or something like that, y'all. I ain't ignoring you. Okay. Your 2-word identity, and then most of us did about 2 words in the characteristics of who we are, and then the thing that we're challenged up against. So let's do your 3 characteristics now. Drop them in there if you want to. If you got a little notebook you're writing down, get a little notebook that says "Wild Woman, Inspiring, Leading, and Developing," right? And then we grow it from there. So what are your 3 characteristics? Whether you have them in full force or not, or they're developing and becoming, then that's what you're going to focus on, because that's part of the being of us. So what do you have? Your 3 characteristics that are up against the battle when you fight the battle to be your best self. What do you have?
Oh, my 2 words plus 1 more?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I said passionately nurturing, and my 3rd is compassionate.
Passionately nurturing and compassionate. Who else? What do you have? What are your 3 words that you're using to fight, whether it's your complacency, your concern about what others will say and think, your self-doubt, your insecurities? What's in your corner? Virtuously blessed and redeemed. Ooh, who else? What do you have? What's your 3rd word? Hope, patience, and resiliency. Somebody else. What are your 3? That you have, because that's what you have to stand on the days when it's hard. Resilient, vulnerable, and his. Oh, yeah. Who else? That's your 3rd word that you're going to add on there. because those are going to be what you rely on and what you utilize as your being and becoming. Because identity is so easy when we build it from what others say about us, positive or not, and what we've relied on to get to this point in life. But who are we now? Who were you 10 years from now ago, and who do you plan to be 10 years from now? I have power, love, and strength. Truly blessed and proud. Those are the words that have you, his beloved. Like, we have to continue to expand and become and think about, who do I want to see myself being? That I don't see myself yet being, but who I want to see myself being as I go forward. Forgiving, redeemed, and loved, like that. So here I am in my being, right? Here I am in my being. And then I have to think about who I am becoming. Here I am in my being, his beloved, and truth. And truth is a powerful one. Man, if you're not standing on the truth, here's the challenge. There are facts and then there's truth. And you got to figure out whether you're going to stand on the truth, or you're going to, what they say, you're going to believe what your lying eyes are showing you, because there are some facts that will sit before you that are not the whole truth. And you have to be willing to really dig in and grab hold of truth, not just the facts. Right? So I want you to think about, actually, this someone challenged me on this week. So this next thing I'm going to ask you to do is not unique to what I'm thinking of. And yeah, you're really comfortable and everything, and that's fine. But I'd like you, because we're winding down, I'd like you, if you want to, get up and look at the space around you and find one thing that you would say represents who you are right now in your being. Going to take 30 seconds. I know some of us move a little bit slower. It aches and creaks, right? But look around you. It could be right next to you. I don't care. But 30 seconds, well, we're at about 20 seconds now. Find something around that could represent who you are right now. What am I coming into agreement with? We're going to not stay there, Patty. That's the clue. What is it that you have in your space around you that kind of represents who you are right now? Anything around you?
These leaves.
Oh, okay. You can do that. You can do that. You can do that. Right?
Family tree.
Okay.
Family tree.
About 10 more seconds. You found something? Hold it up so we can all see it. I know we can't all see it, but hold it up and drop it in. Tell us what you have. What's that thing that you feel like represents you now? A butterfly. Here's something unique about the butterfly. Did you know? Okay, so anybody, this is a freebie, right? Where do butterflies come from? Caterpillars. Well, they come out the cocoon, right? Anybody? Oh, I like that one, Katie. We're gonna come back to it. The butterfly. Butterfly comes out of the cocoon, but what went into the cocoon? I'm gonna write about this in my word of the week this week, so watch out for it. Right? What went into the cocoon before the butterfly came out? The caterpillar, right? And so when you draw this picture of the butterfly, when I was a kid, like, you draw the caterpillar with wings. Do we know that the butterfly coming out the cocoon is not a caterpillar with wings? Because that caterpillar in the cocoon becomes mush. It's not like the caterpillar goes in the cocoon and lays there and sprouts wings. The caterpillar becomes a pulp, like a ball of mess. It's just mess, right? And we like to think the me is going to sprout wings and become a butterfly. No, what it means is you have to be willing to die, to no longer be you. I like that, Rachel. The caterpillar, not a word, right? We have to be willing to allow this who I am to absolutely die in order for my next best self to become. Not just sprout wings. All right, we're gonna write about that. But that was pretty cool. Picture of an innocent child. How beautiful is that? Peace. A picture of my parents. Ah, that's so cool. I'm connected to my calling to connect with others to theirs. Amazing. And we get to carry that into who we're becoming. So now we're going to take the identity that we already named, the characteristics that we're carrying into this battlefield, because it is a battlefield. We're aware of the challenges we're facing. And now the almost final question is, as you that thing that you have that represents who you are right now, what do you need to add or change for it to become who you're becoming? What needs to change about it? Because we can't hold on to what we have and just hold on to what we have if we're going to continue to grow. So, what needs to be added? How does that thing you have need to evolve so that it is going to represent you in the process of becoming? Got to add some things. We have to nurture some things. We have to develop some things. We have to challenge some things, some mindsets, some attitudes, some beliefs that we've carried. We've got to eliminate some things. We have to evict, not my quote, but somebody said, I don't know why you have things living in your head and they're not paying rent. We have to evict some mindsets, some belief systems, some attitudes and ideas that we've carried with us. And part of that is to think about, what out of my worst self am I bringing along for the ride with my best self? What am I bringing with me from my worst self? Those things that I learned how to do in order to just survive. Those attitudes I learned how to have to be able to make it through whatever I was going through, that I'm still using now that I'm free. What 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 are those things that were with me in the hardest times that helped me survive, that I have brought along with me for the ride, that I need to leave behind? There are some things that you gotta leave. You ever traveling, you get to the airport, right? And if you're traveling, I won't say the name of the favorite airlines, right? Where if you have more than a pound, they're gonna charge you an extra $50 or $85 or whatever it is because you went overweight. And if you have ever been in the airport trying to figure out how you're going to get things from one suitcase into the other one, because they don't put the two suitcases together to add up to a certain weight. Each one has to be a certain weight. So you're sitting there and you open up your suitcase and you have to figure out what everybody's looking at, what's in your suitcase, right? And especially now, because time before you could just ask the person behind you, can you hold this for me? You can't do that anymore. So you have this suitcase and you're trying to figure out what you're going to take out of one and put into the other so it evens out. Or what am I going to leave behind? Now, if you like some people and you get to the security and they say you can't take that through, and it's a nice mango or something that you thought you were taking up to winter areas, you bite all over it so that nobody else can have it. But when you're there and you're trying to pack your suitcase, and sometimes you have to decide what to leave behind. What is it I'm willing to leave behind so that I can catch this flight on my journey to my next best self? Anger for you? Who else? Somebody said doubt and fear, worrying about pleasing others. I used to go over old failures and hurts and let them hurt me over and over again. I'm not able to look at them from a distance and not let them hurt me again. So powerful. When guidance, direction, discipline, the worst things is self-defense. Yeah. And self-defense looks so different for every one of us. We find different ways, different strategies. Letting go can be painful, but beautiful and absolutely necessary. So if you have decided, I am going to be who I know I am. And I'm going to become the better version of myself tomorrow and each day after that. And in the process, I have to demonstrate my strength, my resilience, my courage, my confidence, whatever those things are, because I know that fear and shame and doubt come and knock on my door every day to fight me. And I am going to unpack those things so that I can get on this flight. Then we're in the process. Leave behind self defense to obtain the wind, direction, and discipline. And that's why I have that quote on my wall, because there are days, there are days when nothing has to happen. Just the being of this world can beat us up and we can feel less than
What's going on in this world?
just because the world is ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got residual shame, doubt, fear, and all of those things. And there has to be a constant reminder that I'm going to be okay. I am okay today, and I'm going to continue to be okay, and I'm going to continue to become. And one of the ways we do that is by linking arms with somebody who's going to help you continue on your journey. You have to have a somebody who can remind you when you forget of who you are. You have to have somebody who is willing to challenge you to stand in yourself and know that you're better than who you've been, but not yet as great as who you're becoming. Now that's wild.
Interesting.
If you have any questions that you want to drop in now, we'll spend the last 2 minutes just kind of open mic, talking about some things, asking some questions, giving some observations of our discussion tonight.
Nice.
And I'd like you to really think about what's your statement of commitment in this developing your best self. What are you committed to do in the work of continuing to become? That does I'm going to go back to school and get my degree. It's nothing like that. Is who are you inside and what are you committed to doing to nurture that? It might mean turning off some songs. It might be turning off some TV. It might mean turning on some things. It might mean calling some people. It might mean calling fewer people. It could be so whatever it is that you need to do. What is because you have to think about what are the things that interfere with my becoming my best self and what am I willing to step away from and how can I do it? Can you repeat that statement, please? So your task as we finish up is to come up with your commitment statement. What are you committed to do in the process of becoming your best self? Might mean leaving some things, people, places behind. It might mean adding some things, places, and doing some things. Calling some folks, calling some people less. Um, but not it is not the task oriented. I'm going to go back to school or I'm going to, it's not a doing of things, it's a becoming and being. So if you would drop that in and we're going to finish up. And if you have a question as we wind down, I'm committed to keeping you for no more than an hour when we get together because there's so many other amazing things to do other than listen to my voice for us to do this again. And we're going to do this again in 1 month. So it's fourth Fridays. We're going to get together and be wild and inspire each other, develop in our leadership wherever we are, and continue to become. So, what's your statement of commitment? Drop it in there, and then we're going to sign off in just a moment. What's your statement? I'm committed to.
Letting go.
I'm committed to letting go. I am better than I was, but not as best as my better self. I like that one. Who else? What's your statement of commitment? I am committed to, give me 30 seconds, drop it in there. What's your commitment? The work that's going to be done inside of you to get to where you're going. I'm committed to being in tune with my emotions and being kind to myself. Love that. Who else? I am committed to moving forward and not being hindered. Yeah. All right. And one last thing, I'd like you to think about a sister who has permission to help you do this, because we don't do this journey alone. You don't have to drop that in. Just think about who's in your circle, who you're committed, in your commitment, who you're going to invite. And somebody talked about vulnerability, who has permission to help you get there, because we don't do this alone. Committed to working on that 20%. Thank you so much for all of you that are who are on tonight. I am committed to being and becoming and doing this hair thing. I'm committed to staying present on this journey. Yeah. So God bless you all. Thank you for being here. We're going to join again next month. I won't do all the talking every time. I'm committed to believe that I am who he says I am. And that is such like that top shelf. I have to hold on to that or I lose my way on any given day. So we'll see you next month. I think the date is the same, March 25th, 7 p.m. I'll probably be dropping in some other words of wisdom throughout the month. But I'm so excited that we're able to share this space. And I look forward to seeing you next month. You all stay safe, all right? Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Really, a month? Yes, a month, Miss Rachel. 1 month. We're only going to do this once a month. We have to spend the rest of the weeks doing the work. Bye-bye.